Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is meaning and functions of money. That means what actually money is and how money work out. Okay. Before understanding money, let's understand the very beginning system. Okay, from where we started. Basic, that is barter system of exchange. I hope you all know the word and meaning of barter system of exchange. Now, prior to the introduction of money, it is known today trade was carried out by barter system. Okay, you know what barter system means? That means goods were exchanged for other goods, right? Like a piece of cloth was exchanged for given quantity of wheat. Okay, so a teacher was paid wheat or rice as a payment for his/her service. So this was the system which was being carried out. The economic system based on barter is known as barter economy or CC economy, where C stands for commodity. Okay, do remember what is it known as? Barter economy or CC economy, where C stands for commodity. Okay, under it commodity for commodity exchange take place. Commodity for commodity exchange, that means from of one goods another goods are exchanged. Okay, so that is what C means over here. This system was in existence in the initial phase of human civilization. Initial means in the beginning. Okay, when human beings started civilized. Civilized means started forming a society. Okay, thus barter system refers to the system of exchange where goods and services were exchanged directly for other goods and services. Economic exchange without the use of money are referred as barter system. Okay, but there were some difficulties in barter system. So let's understand what were the difficulties. Because of difficulties only money came into existence. Now what was the first difficulty? Lack of double coincidence of want. Now what do you mean by lack of double coincidence of want? The barter system requires a double coincidence of want. That means one person should also be in demand for the goods which is being in exchange. Suppose I have a wheat. Okay, I want rice. So the person who has a rice are bounded to have wheat. Why? Because I have only wheat to exchange. I don't have any other thing. If rice, the person who has a rice want cloth, so why will he exchange goods with me? So double coincidence of want should be there. That means the requirement of other fellow should be as per mine. Okay, the goods which I have. I hope first point is clear. Now next difficulty is lack of common measures of value. Now what this means? See, when there were coincidence of want, okay, the problem arises as to the proportion in which the two goods should be exchanged. That means quantity. Suppose I have a wheat, another fellow has a rice. I am in more requirement of rice. The other fellow needs wheat, but it's okay if even he don't get it. He is not in much requirement. So what he will do? He will say that I will give you less rice and I will take more wheat. So what is there? There is no common measures. No, you cannot judge. It all depends on the intensity of want. That means how much your requirement is. Okay, how badly you need it. So that is what they say, that the rate of exchange will be arbitrarily fixed. Arbitrarily means voluntarily fixed according to the intensity of demand for each other's goods. Now accordingly one party is at disadvantage. Now because of this, one party definitely face problem in the terms of trade between the two goods. Okay, now lack of divisibility. Now another difficulty of barter system is related to the fact that all the goods cannot be divided. Like suppose you have a horse. Okay, now you want to exchange horse. Can you divide horse in pieces and then exchange it? No, not possible. You will completely exchange horse with some goods. Now again the other fellow is in loss. So what is it? Lack of divisibility. Okay, now problem of storing wealth. That means you cannot store it. Why? Because goods and all, you wheat, rice and all, you cannot store it for a long time, right? It has a limited duration. Moreover, very expensive also. It is very expensive to store such kind of goods. right? Suppose horse and all, everything, any such kind, if you want to store it for a long time, you will face difficulty. Those are expensive, you need to take care and all. So there was a problem in storing of wealth. Now lack of standard of deferred payment. Deferred payment, that means another drawback of barter system is that it lacks a standard of deferred payment. Deferred payment, that means credit transaction. Okay, so credit transaction requiring what? Future payment, that cannot take place smoothly under barter trading, right? Like for example, if a person borrow a cow for a year or two, he cannot return the same because by that time it would have become old, right? Cow may be 2 years old, maybe she may not give milk that time, so original quality may be deteriorated. Fine. So that is what? Lack of standard of deferred payment, that is future payment. You cannot pay anything in future, pay back in future. Okay. Now there are three main problems in lack of standard of deferred payment. The first problem is it may create controversy regarding the quality of goods or services to be repaid in future. That is what we saw. Like if I gave you cow on credit for 2 years, after 2 years no doubt the quality will be changed, so it creates a controversy. Okay, the two parties, second point is the two parties may be unable to agree on the specific goods to be used for repayment. That I gave you previous example. Suppose I have a rice, another person has a wheat, but I don't want wheat. Okay, as I have a rice, I want a good cloth. So what I will prefer? I will prefer the person who has a cloth. Probably the person who has a cloth don't want rice, he want wheat. So this is what? This is mutual agreement. Mutual agreement is not there. Fine. So exchange cannot take place. Now both the parties run the risk that the value of goods to be repaid may increase or decrease in future. Now whatever we are exchanging, the value may be more or less. You know, it all depends on the intensity of want when we are going on exchange system. Okay, so there was no assurity. So these all were the problems which was being faced. Now how money came into existence, that is evolution of money. Money is the most important invention of modern time. The evolution of money has passed through various stages in accordance with the time, place and circumstances. Okay, now how it has changed? It has changed as per time, place and circumstances. Economists have identified 5 such stages in the evolution of money. How many stages are there? 5 stages. First is animal money, second is commodity money, third is metallic money, fourth is paper money, fifth is bank money. So first let's understand the animal money. Now what do you mean by animal money? During the earliest period of human civilization, domestic animals were used as money. Okay, so here what they did, that they started using animal as a money, rest all were been avoided. Okay, so different things were valued in terms of cattle that one could command in exchange. In ancient India, according to Atharva Veda, Godhana, cow wealth, was accepted as a form of money. Okay, Godhan, that is cow wealth. Fine. Where in which Veda? It was Atharva Veda. Okay. So Godhan, that is cow wealth, was accepted as a form of money. Similarly, in the 4th century BC, the Roman state has officially recognized cow and sheep as money to collect fines and taxes. Okay, so they used to collect fines and taxes in form of cow and sheep, like one cow this much tax, 2 cow this much tax. That is what they have fixed up. Okay, so that was animal money. Fine, animal was used as a money. Next is commodity money. Now later on, money took the form of commodity money. In many countries, a large number of commodities such as bows, arrows, animal skin, shells, precious stones, rice, tea, tobacco, etc. were used as money. Okay, now here commodity, that means things came into existence. Okay, now they were exchanging all these like bows, arrows, animal skin. Now animals were not there, animal skins, okay, shells, precious stones, these all were used as a exchange. Okay, the selection of a commodity to serve a money depends upon the several factors like the location of the community, climate of the region, cultural and economical development of the society, etc. Now, for example, people living by the seashore, fine, what kind of money they will have? They will have either shells or dried fish as money. Likewise, in the cold region like Alaska and Siberia, people adopt animal skins and fur as money. Fine. So it was all depending upon the climatic condition and the region, culture, economic, everything, the way your society is. Okay. So that is commodity money. Now let's understand metallic money. With the passage of time, it was realized that goods cannot be stored for a longer period of time. That already we studied above, right? And even it lacks uniformity. So commodity money therefore changed into metallic money. Okay. Now it was being changed into metallic money. But what kind of metal? Gold, silver, copper, etc. Okay. They were used as money. It was main form of money throughout the major part of the recorded history. Okay. So this is metallic money. Now after metallic money, what came into existence? Paper money. It was found inconvenient as well as dangerous to carry gold and silver coins from place to place. We all know very well now we cannot wear a one simple chain, right? So how come we can carry lot of gold coins with us? So it was very difficult to carry it from one, even heavy it was, so it was difficult to carry from one place to another. More importantly, world's production of gold and silver was not sufficient, right? So the requirement was not matching because we have limited gold is a mineral, right? Gold and silver. So what we have limited in supply, so no doubt the requirement was not matching to the that trade and industry. Therefore paper money came into existence. Now it was introduced in 17th and 18th century and now has become the most popular form of money. So from where paper money was started? In 17th and 18th century, but now it is the most popular one. Okay. Now next is bank money. As the volume of transactions increased, paper money started becoming inconvenient because of the time involved in its counting and space required for its safekeeping. Okay, this leads to the introduction of bank money or credit money. Now we cannot store lakhs and crores of rupees at home, right? It is very dangerous. So we need safety and security. So that is why bank money came into existence. Okay, now bank money implies demand deposits with bank which are withdrawal through checks, drafts, etc. Checks are widely accepted these days, particularly for business transactions. For example, while purchasing a car or a house, bank money in term of check or bank draft is used. Okay, so if you want to purchase some big house or car, so what happened? Bank money in terms of check or bank draft is used. Bank money can be transported cheaply and also there is no element of risk involved in its movement. Moreover, check can be returned for the exact amount. Okay, so what is there? You can exactly mention the amount of check which you want to issue. So that was more convenient. So bank money was more convenient. Only one paper and you can mention lakhs of money in that, right? You need not carry a bunch of papers together. So that was convenient, very easy. So that is why this came into existence. That is bank money. Clear? Now let's understand the meaning and definition of money. The word money is derived from the Latin word moneta, okay, which was the surname of the Roman goddess of Juno, in whose temple at Rome money was coined. Okay, so there money was first minted. Okay, to a layman, rupee is the money in India, dollar is the money in USA, and the pound in England. Basically, money was introduced as an instrument, or you can say medium of exchange. Accordingly, money meant anything that acts as a medium of exchange. With the passage of time, money came to be defined differently. The important definition of money are explained under the following heads. Now down we will see different heads under which money is being explained. So first in a row is legal definition. Now what is the legal definition of money? Okay, according to this definition, money is what the law says is money. Now in other words, anything which the government declares it as money is money. Okay, a thing will have generally acceptability if the law declares it as a money, since it has the legal power to discharge debts. Debts means you can pay, okay, your liabilities. No creditors can refuse it, or he may demand anything else in payment of debt. Currency notes and coins, which are collectively currency, are legal tender money. Do remember what is legal tender money? Currency notes and coins. Okay. Now currency notes plus coins are collectively, that means total, known as what? Currency. Okay, it is also called flat money. See why I am pressurizing these words, because these are 2 marks question. So you can get a question, what is legal tender money or what is flat money? So such kind of question you should be able to answer. So be very careful and mark it, because it serves as money on the fiat order of the government. Fiat, that is flat. Okay, flatly whatever government order, you have to strictly follow that. That is why it is called flat money. Okay, so that is what currency notes and coins, these all are known as flat money. Why? Because it serves as money on the fiat order. Fiat, that is order, okay, of the government. Am I clear? Now functional definition of money. According to this definition, money is defined on the basis of functions it performs. This definition emphasizes the important functions of money. From the point of view, Crowther's definition is considered as most suitable definition of money. He defines money as anything that is generally acceptable as a medium of exchange. Okay, so what was the definition according to the Crowther? Anything that is generally acceptable as a medium of exchange and at the same time acts as a measure and as store of value. Okay, what is money? Again once I will say, anything that is generally acceptable as a medium of exchange and at the same time acts as a measure and as a store value. Okay. Now this definition was considered as an ideal definition of money because of 2 reasons. This definition emphasizes all the important functions of money. So if you'll check out the definition, it carries all the important functions like generally acceptable, medium of exchange, okay, at the same time acts as a measures, that means has a measures of value, then has a store value. So all the functions it covers. So that is why this definition was an ideal definition. It stresses upon the basis characteristics of generally acceptable. So basic characteristic is what? General acceptable, that means it is commonly acceptable. So it has emphasized. So again this is another point where this definition stands as a perfect definition for money. Next is narrow and broad definition of money. See, we have 2 kinds of definition of money. One is narrow definition, another is broad definition. Now let's understand what is narrow definition. Narrow money includes only currency notes and coins. Okay, it includes only those things which functions as a medium of exchange. Am I clear? Narrow means it is including only what? Currency notes and coins, and includes only those which can be used as a medium of exchange. Now broad money. Now this, besides including currency, coins, notes, also includes some other things in the supply of money that have a high degree of moneyness. High degree of moneyness means, that means as good as money. Like for example, time deposit at bank. What do you mean by time deposit? and that is FD. Okay, you know FD is fixed deposit. Your parents fix money for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. This is what? This is time deposit. Okay, it is with bank also, it is in post office also. This deposit can be converted into ready cash at short notice. Ready cash means immediate cash, because these are such an instrument which can be converted into cash immediately. Okay, so that is why this is known as this is also a money, high degree of moneyness. Okay, so it has a high, this is a high degree of moneyness. Am I clear? Next is forms of money. Now how many forms are there? Full bodied money, credit money, legal tender money. Okay, now what do you mean by full bodied money? Full bodied money is that money whose value as a commodity is equals to its value as money. Okay, that means whatever commodity you have, equally you have that same value in money. Okay, like if it is mentioned 1 rupee, so value of that coin is also of 1 rupee only. That is full bodied money. Okay, a rupee coin during the British period in India was made of silver. Its commodity value, that is value of metal used, was equal to its face value. Okay, so the value of that coin was equals to its face value. Face value means whatever was written in that. Okay, so that is full bodied money. Next is credit money. Now credit money refers to that money whose value as money is greater than its commodity value. That is value of the material from which it is made, like token coins, 5 rupee, 2 rupee, 1 rupee, etc., and currency notes. Now the face value which has been mentioned, like 5 rupees, okay, actually the material which is being used is not worth 5 rupees. Okay, so that is what material is less than the value which is being mentioned. Okay, so this is credit money. Next is legal tender money. Money which has legal sanction behind it and accepted as a means of payment is known as legal tender. Legal tender means the one which is being accepted by the government. Accepted, that means government has ordered that this is also money, so legally sanctioned. So that is legal tender. Now it is of two types. First is limited legal tender money, then unlimited legal tender money. Limited legal tender money is that money which no person can be forced to accept beyond a certain maximum limit. Coins are limited legal tender money. For example, in India, small coins are legal tender only up to certain limit. Okay, so what is there? Nobody can force you to go beyond the acceptance. Okay, there is a certain limit to the maximum issue of this. Okay, so this is legal tender money, like coins and all. No doubt it is been issued in India, but then in limited numbers. Beyond that, this cannot be issued. Okay, now unlimited legal tender money, it is that money which is acceptable by the people to an unlimited extent. Currency notes of all denominations are unlimited legal tender money. So what is this? Which is acceptable by the people to an unlimited extent, to the maximum, any limits. Okay, so when coins, people, you give coins to somebody, if you give 4, 5, 6, 7 coins, so what they will say, okay, now enough, no more coins. But currency, you give 10, 20, 30, 50, still they accept it. So why? That is because that is unlimited legal tender money. It is acceptable by the people to an unlimited extent. Am I clear?